Welcome to Channel Japan. I'm Mai Demizu.
And I'm Makiko Tsuda.
Every week, we bring you the freshest information out of Japan from our studio here in Tokyo.
From the economy, culture, and even foods, if you want to find out what's happening in Japan right now, this is where you'll find it.
And these are our topics for today. As always, we have some interesting stories to share with you, so stay with us. Well, let's get started. First up is Executive Insight.
Today we'll be showing you an interview we had with a head of a company that makes cement, which is one of the materials used to make concrete.
Well, when I think of cement, the only things that come to mind are buildings and construction sites.
Well, yes, I think that's the case for most of us. But just to give you a little background, the history of the cement industry in Japan goes back to 1875. And for over 130 years, it's been used as a basic material in the construction of various social infrastructures, such as buildings, dams, tunnels, etc. And you could say it's played a major role in the country's economic development. And one thing, Japan's cement quality and manufacturing technology is said to be world-class. And one example, this is so-called porous concrete. And it's gaining attention internationally because it allows water to pass through, as you can see over here.
It's very interesting. You think that concrete is something that blocks out water and is very solid.
I can't agree more, but this porous concrete has numerous consecutive spaces inside to let out water and is also referred to as permeable concrete. And this material is often used for roads and allows rainwater to seep underground, so it prevents such problems as water spatter or reflecting flare from car headlights and slipping tires and also hydroplaning.
Wow. Well, it's hard to imagine that something as common as concrete could incorporate such complex technology.
Now, the biggest cement producer in Japan is called Taiheiyo Cement, and we had an interview with the president, Shuji Fukuda, so take a look.
Executive Insight. Concrete and concrete products are used all around us. Examples include structures such as buildings, bridges, roads, tunnels, and massive dams. Essential for making such concrete products is cement. Japan's biggest cement producer, Taiheiyo Cement, has a 130-year history and is said to have been one of the companies that literally paved the ground on which the Japanese economy was built. Overseeing the vast business is the president, Shuji Fukuda.
You were founded 130 years ago and have grown from a locally based business into a company with the top market share and nearly $7.5 billion in revenue. What has been behind this growth? In the beginning, the business of cement was locally based. Then capital from Tokyo started flowing into the industry, spurring mergers between companies. There were quite a lot of independent firms back then. The history of cement has been walking lockstep with the development of Japan.
The most commonly used cement is called ordinary Portland cement. Accounting for 60% of the cement produced in Japan, it is regarded as being safe, strong, durable, and easy to work with. Due to the high versatility of the material, it has been used in concrete for a wide range of fields, including general civil engineering and construction.
Concrete is, of course, something you use for 50 or 60 years. In terms of cement, quality is the most important factor. A big reason we're trusted is because customers believe that our products won't fail no matter what happens. We've had long relationships with our customers, some for up to 130 years. We have to make sure never to betray their trust. That's why I'm very demanding about quality.
This is the Kumagaya plant in Saitama Prefecture, central to the company's manufacturing operations. We were shown how quality control is carried out here. A train rolls into the plant. Loaded in its carriages is limestone, the raw material of cement. It was dug up at a mine and transported directly here. Limestone is actually the only mineral in which resource-scarce Japan is completely self-sufficient.
The limestone used at this plant originates in two completely different regions of Japan. If you look at the makeup of the limestone we use here, compared to elsewhere across the country, you'll see that it has a high degree of whiteness.
The composition of limestone is different depending on where it is mined. The technique of controlling that to produce uniform products has been cultivated over their 130-year history. In addition to limestone, other materials such as clay, silica, and steel are used as main ingredients. After being mixed together in proper proportions, it is dried, finely crushed with a disintegrator, and stored in a tank. Next, we were taken to the heart of the plant.
This is the kiln to bake the cement.
The ingredients that have been mixed are put through a firing process.
After blending materials such as limestone, the mixture is poured in from the top of this tower. Then, while sliding down, it's baked, and finally slides from left to right inside the kiln. By applying heat to materials such as limestone, the composition is altered and they gradually undergo a chemical change to become cement.
Inside the rotary kiln, the cement is baked at a heat of about 1,450 degrees Celsius. Later, it's rapidly cooled with air, creating black lumps similar to volcanic rock called clinker. The clinker is crushed and mixed with lime to produce cement. Using this process, the company has been actively developing cement that incorporates industrial waste. These waste tires are used as auxiliary fuel for the coal firing process. What's more, the steel wires inside the tires also have a purpose, as they can be used to supplement the necessary steel composition of cement, so nothing is left over. Waste tires are used entirely as a resource. The material brought to the plant by the truck is incineration ash discharged by waste treatment facilities. Typically buried in landfills, it plays a role here in cement production.
Japan discharges a tremendous amount of waste incineration ash, so I find it extremely interesting in the way it's being recycled. One of the biggest problems in this country is what to do with ash from incinerators. And landfills are reaching capacity. In terms of composition, it can act as a substitute for clay, which is needed to make cement. This kind of waste isn't simply a nuisance. It can be turned into a useful material, like cement. In fact, for every 1 ton of cement produced, we get rid of about 500 kilograms of waste materials. That's the role our industry plays.
Cement mainly consists of 4 elements: calcium, silicon, aluminum, and steel. Of these, aluminum, silicon, and steel are found in many types of waste. By recycling industrial waste, the environmental burden of the main ingredients of cement is reduced. Armed with these technologies, the company has been aggressively pushing into overseas markets.
We have cement plants in China, Vietnam, the Philippines, and the US, as well as a cement mill in Papua New Guinea. As countries get bigger and expand, cement becomes an indispensable product. By putting our capital in those countries, we want to provide state-of-the-art cement to support their development. Overseas, we are committed to that mission as we move forward. As underscored by the government's National Land Strengthening Project, there's a need to solidify infrastructure. I imagine there's a growing demand. Amid this, what are you doing to develop even higher strength concrete and cement? Well, whether you're talking about concrete or cement, both products are difficult to differentiate. But with our cement, we work to accurately capture the needs of our customers, what their requirements are. We make our cement, our core product, according to those demands. There is something called ductile. It has quite a high degree of strength. This is the type of product that will gradually start coming out into the world.
Ductile, an ultra-high-performance cement, is being used in the construction of a bridge in Yamagata Prefecture. There are no steel reinforcements. What's more, there are no beams typical of bridges. The structure is made entirely of concrete. What is the secret to its strength? To get the answer, we visited their main research facility in Chiba Prefecture. To demonstrate the strength of ductile, they carried out a certain experiment.
This is ductile, and this is regular concrete. You can see that ductile has a slightly darker color.
First, pressure is applied to regular concrete. Cracks start to appear, and with more pressure, it splits into two.
The maximum pressure applied was 14.85 kilonewtons.
Next, they apply pressure to a concrete block made with ductile. There's a cracking sound. A slight crack has appeared, but compared to regular concrete, there's a clear difference in the way it formed. The pressure applied until regular concrete broke was 14.85 kilonewtons. For ductile, it was about 101.1 kilonewtons. At this point, the pressure is 7 times higher. Until the experiment ends, the concrete block made with ductile doesn't break apart.
These metal fibers have the same thickness as hypodermic needles. Because they contain many thin fibers like these, sections that might crack and break in regular concrete can still transmit strength even after a crack forms. It is a specially designed material.
The industry believes ductile's high performance will pave the way for new applications of concrete.
We're constantly keeping our eyes on market demand and trying to understand what everyone needs. Is it high-strength products or a material that's easy to work with? We want to meet those expectations. I believe that's something we always have to keep in mind.
ยังจำได้หรือเปล่านะ เรื่องต่างๆที่เกิดขึ้นตอนวาดรูปนี้ แต่ถ้ารถยนต์ในฝันของฉันมีจริง ฉันคงจะมีความสุขมากเลย
「 How do we build sustainability into our relationship with Mother Earth? That's Kaiteki, Mitsubishi Chemical Holdings.
My parents work at a really great company, which makes cool computers and LCD TVs. Not only that, they build elevators for skyscrapers and zooming fast bullet trains. My mom designs the company's CT scan systems, which spot diseases. My dad develops power generation systems so people will have plenty of electricity. The company where my parents work is Toshiba.
Has anybody finished doing their pictures?
I have.
All around the world, Toshiba technology is hard at work, bringing smarter, faster, more sustainable development to life.
When I grow up, I want to work for people.
For a growing future, Toshiba.
Sasuke, a new type of sports entertainment program conquering the world.
It's about human achievement and people's passions, and I think that relates to almost everybody.
From Japan to the world, Ninja Warrior, Tokyo Broadcasting System.
You're watching Channel Japan. Next, we have a video report from the Nikkei Online edition. The subject is something called 3D printer. Well, Utsuda-san, I've been hearing more about this recently, but what exactly is it?
Yes, well, 3D printers are considered as a technology that could lead to a third industrial revolution, and they definitely do have the potential of transforming the way business is done. So let me quickly explain how they work. Now, a 3D printer is a machine that turns three-dimensional digital data made by a computer into physical form, and they can use various materials to do this, such as resins, plaster, and metals, and they print out thin layers. They're laid on top of each other and then hardened. And so we've brought some items made by a 3D printer in the studio today. And as you can see, they're three-dimensional.
But it's so amazing. They're so precise and delicate.
I know, and you can use various colors, and they all come out at once. So,
and these are all printed out.
They're all printed out.
Unbelievable.
It's a bit mind-blowing.
Well, it's now more affordable and easier to use then.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I went to see how this technology is being used by Japanese businesses. Take a look.
The Project Japan. This June, an exhibition was held in Tokyo. On display are various 3D printers from high-performance commercial models to those geared towards consumers. Japan-based Keyence showed off this product. They say it incorporates a technology that's a world first.
Our 3D printer employs the world's first water-soluble support material. It's a support material that dissolves in water. For example, shapes like this. Immediately after they're made, something called a support material covers the entire object, and it's not possible to see the shape. By dissolving it in water, the shape becomes visible and the process is completed. Producing items is easy.
Support materials are a secondary substance to maintain the shape of the object being printed. Once the object is made, it must be removed. Typically, a chemical solution is used or the material carved off with a blade or other sharp implement. Their new product does away with that process, in addition to making it possible to create complex shapes.
Until now, the production of a prototype outsourced to a third party could take 1 week to complete. But with 3D printers, product development takes just 2 to 3 hours. That's one of the advantages.
At this booth, products made by a US company are on display. They have a broad lineup, from those costing hundreds of thousands of dollars to lower-end consumer models. This one is priced at about $1,600.
We're positioning this as a home-use printer. You can make rings that you designed yourself. For those who want to use it in a slightly different way, for example, if you're having trouble finding a cover for your bath, it's possible to design one by yourself.
They offer a selection of plastic resin in 16 different colors. The resin passes through this narrow tube and is melted at high heat. By applying several layers, a three-dimensional object is produced. They say 3D printers can be easily operated by novices. We decided to give it a try.
I'm about a 10-minute walk from Roppongi Station in Tokyo, and I've heard there's a place where it's possible to use a 3D printer, so let's take a look. Hello, nice to meet you.
Hello.
This facility is equipped with 5 3D printers. Based on 3D data sent over the internet by users, the company undertakes the production of three-dimensional objects. The service was jointly launched by DMM.com, Nomad, and TeamLab this July. They serve corporate customers as well as individuals. This time, with their cooperation, we were allowed to get our first hands-on experience.
Will you help us today to make something?
Of course. Come right this way. This is a pen-type 3D tool called a 3D mouse. Here, try holding it. When you hit the data on the screen, you'll feel that sensation.
You're right, I feel something. It bounces back.
And there's a button in this section. Try bumping into the sphere while pressing it.
A hole opened up. How interesting. It's like poking a hole in clay.
This time, we decided to make a bracelet. We begin by working on template data.
If you think you've overdone it, use the keyboard like this. And you can go back.
Colors can also be easily added. As the finishing touches and details are too difficult for a beginner to handle, a professional helps us out. Finally, a ring-like accessory is attached and the image data of the bracelet is complete. Once the completed data is sent to the 3D printer, the actual printing begins.
There's a vague shape.
I'm starting to see some dots. Ah, I see it.
This is how a 3D printer works. Following the same mechanism as an inkjet printer, it sprays a material to draw a graphic. Then, thinly sliced horizontal cross-sections of the object appear. These are layered on top of each other multiple times to create a three-dimensional object. This time, we'll use 2 types of materials. One is plaster, which can be colored using the printer. The other is acrylic resin, which is a plain color but makes it possible to create detailed shapes. For an object the size of a bracelet, it takes 2 to 3 hours for plaster and 12 to 15 hours for acrylic resin to be fully processed. Hearing that the bracelet is ready, we revisited the facility several days later.
This is the completed product.
Wow, this is the one made with plaster. Compared with what's on the screen, the color, the specific sections, and even the ring part added on later are all exactly like the original design.
That's correct.
It's a bracelet, of course, so it fits perfectly on my wrist.
This is the product made with acrylic resin.
If you look closely, the flower petals and stamens and pistils are recreated in fine detail. It's amazing. What's the advantage of 3D printing?
It's often said that 3D printing will replace existing crafting methods such as machining and molding, but we don't see it that way. Machining has its own strengths. It's difficult for 3D printers to win against that field. Rather, it's about allowing people who until now had a vague idea about something to easily create three-dimensional data and give shape to one-of-a-kind items for themselves or to give as a gift. They offer a new way of thinking.
Products made by 3D printers are also being used in the medical field. At this hospital in central Tokyo, 3D printed products are assist in surgical procedures.
This is a hospital specializing in nephrology and urology. The doctor is operating a surgery assistance robot. While looking at the camera images, he controls the medical tool at the tip of the arm. It's a training exercise for sewing the bladder to the urethra. The organs aren't actually real. They were made with a 3D printer and are highly detailed models. Since September 2012, this hospital has been using models made with 3D printers to train doctors in prostate cancer surgery.
With robotic surgery, you don't have the sensation of touch. So we use vision. That's to say, surgery is carried out by focusing on the information we can capture with our eyes. The 3D printed models are exactly like real organs, in terms of the way they look. Now, let's see how the organs look sewed together. The sewing is very clean. I think the models have a very precise surface sheen and grooves.
In the past, they used plastic bottles attached with rubber tubes.
We used to practice by cutting rubber tubes that were meant to look like the urethra and bladder. I made them myself, but they were far removed from reality.
By practicing on lifelike models, they say actual surgery times have been drastically shortened. There are other uses for models made with 3D printers. This is a model of a patient's kidney. The white area is a malignant tumor. In other words, cancer. It's been replicated so that the internal blood vessels are visible and to show how it would look after the cancer cells are removed. The doctors can use this as a reference before surgery and explain the operation to patients.
Seeing not just images, but a three-dimensional model is very convincing. Patients can even touch it. Explanations to patients are taking a big step from visualization. In other words, what can be seen, to haptization, what can be touched.
The organ models were developed and manufactured by Phosotech, which sells 3D CAD systems. They had been developing prototypes of industrial products using 3D printers, but entered the medical field in 2012. Now they supply models of organs and human bodies to over 20 medical institutions. Using CT scan data provided by hospitals, they prepare a diagram and recreate patients' organs in detail. They say their software allows image data to be modified, allowing them to make diagrams for specific purposes, such as how an organ would look after a tumor is removed. This is a model of a liver. It has been made with a transparent material so that the blood vessels are visible. The texture can also be made lifelike. This model of a bone has a complex structure.
This bone cannot be made with just image data from a CT scan. On a computer, we add data that incorporates the mechanical structure. Then we use materials such as rubber, gels, and hard white resin in complex combinations and rely on a 3D printer to make this.
This is a combination of several models such as those for the pelvis and bladder. It is a product made specifically for surgery training. Models not just of single organs, but system-type products are another area that the company is focusing on.
While surgeries that are less burdensome on patients are increasing, the burden on doctors is growing. There's less of a burden on patients, but doctors are required to improve their skills. So now we're developing simulators to help them do that. They're training tools that are authentic replicas of the human body. We plan to develop more of these types of products in the future. We're hoping to expand into the medical field in Asia within 3 years.
Now let me show you some accessories that I made during my experience at the 3D printing office. So these are what came out of the printers.
Bracelet.
Kind of.
And
you can touch it. It's made from plaster.
Wow, very light.
It is, isn't it?
And very colorful.
Exactly. I just painted. I know it's not very tasteful, but I just wanted to show how easily you could use different colors. And also, we kind of fused a bracelet and a ring.
Very unique.
It is, definitely. And another unique item.
What is that? It looks like a face of someone.
It is, and it's actually made from chocolate. And the thing is, it's not actually printed. You can't actually print chocolate yet. That would be groundbreaking technology. But it was an event held by several companies on Valentine's this year, and it allowed participants to make chocolate with an image of themselves on it. So this is a few of the participants' faces. And it was made by scanning a person's face and then creating the model of the person by using a 3D printer. And then they made a mold, which is over here, using the 3D scanned model. And then they put in chocolate and hardened it, and this is what they came out with. So the ways that you can use a 3D printer is just limitless.
Well, this 3D printer seems very promising, but are there any obstacles?
Well, the key to whether these technologies become widespread, I think, depends on the development of technologies that will allow people to easily recreate 3D data. And I must say that having experience actually designing these things, it wasn't easy, and I did have a lot of help from the engineers. So I've been told that there are now software programs that actually help people create 3D data. So if these things become more widely available, maybe it'll help more people to use these 3D printers to make what they would like to.
Well, when the time comes, maybe I'd want to make something out of myself as well.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Trading card games transcend generations as well as borders. Trading card games will unite the world. However, the possibilities do not simply end there. Trading card games combine the different forms of entertainment, and fun will link the world as one. Bushiroad.
Traditional.
Consistent.
Precise.
Speedy.
Professional. Innovative.
Polite. Quality from Japan. The best of business in Asia. SMBC. Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation.
Sou uma pessoa comum. Eu gosto de apreciar todos os momentos do meu dia. Quanto isso pode me motivar? Como eu posso me manter focada? Tudo ao meu redor, incluindo os momentos do meu dia a dia, é o que eu preciso para me concentrar para a minha luta de 90 minutos. Quero dar esperança às pessoas. A better life, a better world.
Panasonic.
The view is almost like peering down on the star-filled night sky at your feet. It's the city at night seen from a height of 450 meters. Make unforgettable memories. City lights stretching for as far as the eye can see. Find it at Tokyo Skytree.
Asia, the engine of the global economy. The pulse of the region at your fingertips with unique insights from Nikkei. With Nikkei Asian Review, stay up to date on the latest economic trends anywhere in the world. Read the future, lead the economy. Nikkei, Japan's leading media for business.
You're watching Channel Japan. In our next segment, we show you an episode from popular economics program. Today, it's from TV Tokyo's World Business Satellite. So, Utsuda-san, what is it about?
Yes, this time it will be looking at electric scooters. Now, they came onto the market in Japan around 2010, but since then growth has been lackluster, and now various manufacturers are taking on new strategies to rev up interest. So have a look.
A pink, round-shaped scooter. It runs not on gasoline, but electricity.
The main characteristic is that it's electric-powered and unique. Because it's this small, you can ride it into your home or apartment building.
Koichiro Ogisu manufactures car parts, but in his free time he also develops such electric scooters. In the past, he's teamed up with an anime creator on a customized model. He has been differentiating himself from rivals by making unique electric scooters.
When electric scooters were attracting attention, companies in various industries started getting involved, but they all failed.
To survive, he is carrying out joint development with other firms. A model he worked on with his partner, Takashi Nishimoto, is this commercial use Tekko. But 3 years after being launched, they are struggling to grow sales. To drum up interest in electric scooters, Mr. Nishimoto heads out to do some marketing. He arrives at a newspaper delivery outlet. He points out that it can run 100 kilometers on one charge. But
even if the functions are above a certain level, the problem of price is quite difficult.
Mr. Nishimoto decides the quickest route to sales is for the customer to actually ride on one.
If you turn the throttle while pushing this button, the motor will go into reverse.
Once customers go on a test ride, the response isn't bad.
It might be better than before.
The biggest reason for slow sales of electric scooters is price. Models from major brands all cost over $2,500, a high initial investment. Suzuki Motor makes high-end scooters priced upwards of $3,000.
The price is high, so we're still not at a point at which customers can overcome that obstacle to drive sales.
The main feature of this model is that it has two batteries. They're portable, making it more convenient for people living in apartment buildings. But the price of the batteries is actually the biggest problem.
In terms of price, I believe the biggest factor is the battery. Unless the cost falls, electric vehicles won't become cheaper.
While Yamaha Motor is working to develop a model costing about the same as a 50cc scooter by 2015, its rival Honda Motor halted all production and sales of commercial electric two-wheelers this March. Major manufacturers are split on the prospects of the technology. So what's needed to rev up the market? We visited a shop that has sold over 350 electric scooters so far.
Customers who bought them realized the quality issues weren't fully worked out. As a result, we started getting many complaints from our customers.
Unable to deal with financial and other claims, many venture capital firms pulled out of the business. Compared to 3 years ago, the 100 or so companies have been reduced to a quarter. One company has been building up an after-sales system, a startup called Terra Motors.
From the beginning, we've been developing sales channels while also setting up maintenance and repair stations at the same time. We're one of the few to do this.
Last fiscal year, they sold 3,600 units, taking the top market share. With prices below $1,000 and sales through electronic retailers, the company has emerged as an industry leader. Terra Motors recently announced a new model. It can travel a distance of up to 65 kilometers on a single charge, 20 kilometers more than before. With this renewed model, the company is also eyeing the Asian market. In Japan, they've set their sights on the demand from the delivery industry.
We believe the next big trend is the expansion in the delivery sector. A growing number of companies are starting delivery businesses. We're positioning electric scooters in the industry as a quiet delivery method.
They've not only increased the capacity of batteries, but also added a function linking the scooter to smartphones. By aggregating driving and location data, they say it can lead to improved work efficiency.
Electric scooters still aren't widely known in Japan, so I believe there are various possibilities.
It's been 3 years since electric scooters began taking off in Japan. But does the market have the muscle to zoom ahead?
Well, Tsuda-san, I understand our next topic is learning as business opportunity.
Yes, it is. Now, David, have you started doing any activities or taking lessons after you graduated from school?
Well, some exercise and cooking lessons.
Cooking lessons.
How about you?
Well, I've been taking golf lessons and I haven't been getting any better. So, but there are lots of people who are taking classes. I have a list over here. It's a ranking of popular activities or classes among 20 to 60-year-olds in Japan. And as you can see at the top, like you said, fitness sports comes at the top, learning foreign languages or taking music lessons. They're all very popular.
Well, I see that people are interested in improving their health as well as learning new skills that could help advance their careers.
You could say that. Now, that seems to be the case, but this time our focus isn't on these top-ranked activities and classes, but rather niche lessons which aren't as heavily advertised. So take a look.
Near a river with jet skiers one weekend, 4 men are listening intently to a woman.
I had never ridden on a boat until then. I had no clue how to operate one. But I took the test at the examination center and passed.
This is a boating class, but it's not about how to operate a boat. Rather, it is a slightly unusual lesson in which participants learn about the experiences of those who succeeded in getting their boating license on the first try. The class is sponsored by Super Student, a company that offers slightly offbeat lectures. Their website was set up 3 months ago. So far, they've offered lessons on a variety of niche subjects, such as hitting a baseball to the opposite field, and parking tips by professional car drivers. The site's founder is Kazushige Minami, the president of a startup company.
There are many seminars and lectures, but very few for people who want to learn about eccentric subjects. I wanted to give those people a chance to take classes in a real setting. Those who want to learn the same thing can connect and communicate in this manner.
On their official Facebook account, requests arrive for classes on a variety of subjects.
Ways to hold a surprise celebration. There are a surprising number of requests. We're getting a lot. They're all on offbeat subjects that are rarely taught anywhere.
They post an immediate reply for interesting ideas. Back to the earlier boating class. After hearing how she passed the test, they climb onto a boat. For safety, they are accompanied by the manager of a marine sports club. There is a practical test to actually get a boating license.
What kind of things did you do on the test?
The instructor gives you a piece of paper with a question about a hypothetical situation. For example, a boat comes towards you. Which direction would you go? He'll do this suddenly when you're going quite fast, so you should remember the answer beforehand.
Even on the boat, they learn about her experience. This class is about $50 for 3 hours.
If I took a class with an actual instructor, I'd have to pay $1,000. But I can take this class and learn how to apply for the test and how to take it. So $50 is a good deal. It's great that I can study with them, even if it's only until the test. I feel we can keep in contact and go out to sea together one day.
The classes are captured on camera and the pictures uploaded to their Facebook page to attract more participants. What's in it for the Marine Club that cooperated?
We as an industry are very grateful. The number of people who apply for a boating license has fallen by half compared to the bubble economy period. In fact, we felt we could take advantage and benefit from participating in Mr. Minami's project. What we're focusing on is doing a business that doesn't end with the internet. We want to use both the real and virtual worlds and combine the best of both.
There is now a growing movement to harness social networking sites to tap into the demand for lessons on niche subjects. This is another such website. Called Street Academy, they offer 280 different classes. Their aim is to connect people who want to teach and those who want to learn. People who want to teach register as instructors and upload information such as the kind of classes they want to hold and their profile. Those who want to learn simply choose the classes they're interested in. Registration is free. When a class is actually held, the instructor pays the website operator 15% of the fees. The website is run by Takashi Fujimoto, who works out of this shared office. What was behind the idea?
The divide between study and entertainment is disappearing. By showing that study can be fun, it's possible to attract more customers. The key is how to make study fun. If we can do that, things will really pick up.
Their concept is street learning that's fun. On one holiday, a group of people with digital cameras gathers in central Harajuku.
For example, you take a picture of that kind of mannequin and make it look human.
This is a digital camera photography workshop. The instructor is professional photographer Kazuo Nakahara. By walking around with him for just 2 hours, participants can learn picture-taking techniques. The class is especially popular among women.
There were scenes that I wanted to shoot before, but could never get right. Now I'm able to. I take classroom lectures, but we never go out to take pictures, so yeah, I'm happy he gives me direct advice.
Mr. Nakahara actually became a photographer 2 years ago after quitting his office job. He learned about Street Academy just as he was thinking of expanding his work and registered as an instructor.
These kinds of websites make it extremely convenient for people like me, who haven't been doing something for a long time and don't have connections, or for those who have skills but can't find a way to use them.
In less than a year after the site was put up, 230 people have registered as instructors and 1,500 have taken classes.
We want to expand nationwide this fiscal year. We're hoping to sign up 15,000 users.
Many of these classes may seem offbeat and niche, but will they become big business in the future?
Well, there are a lot of interesting lesson classes.
Yeah.
Well, I want to try parking my cars.
That would be one good lesson. Skills and expertise in areas that were once considered to be niche can now be taught to people who need them through the internet. It's interesting.
Yes. Well, it makes sense because even if you have a certain skill, it's very difficult to tie that into an actual occupation.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right. Now, obviously, other examples of how the internet is connecting like-minded people are out there. And one example is, if you're an artist, you could upload pictures of your pieces and sell them on the internet.
Right.
And because now it's said that 1 in 3 people are using the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So this type of person-to-person connection can definitely lead to new business models or new markets even.
Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Channel Japan. We have much more in store for you, so make sure to tune in next week.
Hey, look at this. They're building a huge steel plant with Kobelco technology.
Kobelco? Never heard of it.
It's Japanese. They can make iron with incredible speed. What once took 8 hours can be done in just 10 minutes.
Wow, the Japanese are incredible. The country of karate.
Ha! 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 Karate has nothing to do with it.
True.
The talk of the world.
changing emissions from copper refineries into fertilizer. That is where Sumitomo Chemical got its start. For 100 years, we've been delivering the power of chemistry around the world. And we will continue to help make the world a better place for the next 100 years and more.
Mitsubishi Electric is helping to change the environment for the better around the world.
Green subway systems in India.
Green air conditioning systems in Singapore.
Echo changes for a greener tomorrow. Mitsubishi Electric.
Mitsui & Company.
Channel Japan. Your source for the voices and views of people and businesses across Japan. The latest reports on Japanese companies, culture, and technology. Find out what's happening on the ground. Every week, direct from Tokyo, Channel Japan.